So, a couple ways that I can increase the taxonomy of doing a pull-up. The first way is that I can increase it by changing my grip. By doing so, I will be changing a regulatory environmental constraint and also altering my individual perception of the task. There are a few ways that I've thought of that I can change my grip. For example, one way is by adding a small towel around the pull-up bar to provide a different sensation, which I think might be the easiest to do because I have towels readily available. Another way that I could change the grip is by wearing gloves while doing the pull-up, which might be better just because it might be easier to grip on with gloves rather than a towel that can kind of slide and move around as I do it. Also, changing the grip by increasing the distance between my hands or by narrowing the distance between my hands will help to increase the taxonomy. By changing the grip in these different ways, it will allow me to improve the movement pattern because it will cause changes in my sensation through my hands, which changes my perception of the task entirely. This is going to challenge my grip strength better, and in doing so, it will challenge my movement pattern entirely because if I have a stronger grip, I will probably be engaging my muscles to a larger extent while performing the pull-up. Another way that I can increase the taxonomy of this task is by changing the position of my lower extremities during the motion. Because my lower extremities are not really being used during this task, by engaging them, it forces me to multitask during the motion, which will help with my motor learning of the pull-up itself. A few ways that I've thought of that I can change my lower extremity position is by, instead of keeping my legs straight, I can bend my knees up towards my chest so that both of my knees are bent. By doing this, I will be engaging my abdominal muscles while performing the task with my upper extremity. So with that, I could do one leg to my chest and one leg straight, and I potentially could switch them as I'm doing the pull-up to increase the taxonomy even more. I think another way that I can change it with my lower extremities is by squeezing a ball between my knees while performing the task, and this will engage my adductors and add more of a object manipulation of my lower extremities, which will further increase the taxonomy. And lastly, by increasing the cognitive demands of the task, I can increase taxonomy. So some ways that I've thought of that I could do this is by saying the alphabet forwards and attempting to say it backwards while performing the pull-ups, or I can do different math problems by saying like multiples of 2 or 3 and counting up while performing the task. I could also have my partner ask me math problems while I'm doing the task and ask them in a unpredictable manner, which would help to change it to more of like an open environment. Also, by having a verbal cognitive component, it will add taxonomy because it forces me to multitask in different ways and be able to devote physical energy towards achieving the task, but also cognitively, I will need to be thinking about math or the alphabet, which in return will cause the motor task to become more of an automatic motion. As for the stage of motor learning that I'm currently in, I believe I'm in the associative stage. So there are a few reasons I think this, primarily because I've kind of reached a point where I have plateaued with my progress. For example, when I first began doing pull-ups, I was able to decrease the assisted weight almost every few days and was able to perform a pull-up with less weight assisted. Recently, though, I have not been able to decrease the weight. I have stayed kind of at 25 pounds of assisted weight to perform a pull-up, and so I haven't really been able to change that. But although I have hit a plateau in those regards, I do believe that I have become very good at recruiting the proper muscles during the pull-up. So for example, before I needed to consciously think about scapular depression prior to performing each pull-up, but now it's more more of the beginning of my motion of the entire task, and I don't have to think about depressing my scapula at the beginning of the motion as much. I also believe that before I did not have as much control over my trunk and my lower extremities during the motion, but I think that I've refined my motion better in that I can control my trunk, and I understand that having my legs pointing more in front of me helps me to get the motion to pull up. Lastly, my grip distance between my hands has become pretty constant. So I have found a distance that I think feels the most comfortable and works the best with me. So in that way, I have also refined the movement patterns. So overall, I think that for those reasons, I'm in the associative phase and I still have a lot of improvement to do moving forward.